Okay, let us start. First of all, good morning, everyone. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all today to this very important and insightful seminar hosted by Dignity Memorial, also known as Jerrett Kane Funeral Home. We deeply appreciate your presence as it reflects a genuine commitment to understanding and making informed decisions about the future, not just for yourself, but for those we love. A special thank you to John Mossey, Connie DiPlacido, and Calvin Carter from Jerrett Kane Funeral Home for taking out the time and who graciously joined us today to share their expertise and valuable information on funeral pre-planning. Their knowledge and guidance will undoubtedly help us navigate this often overlooked conversation with clarity and confidence. Planning ahead allows us to ease the burden on our loved ones during life's most challenging moments and ensures that our personal wishes are honored with dignity and respect. That is very important, with dignity and respect. Today's seminar is a wonderful opportunity to ask questions. Please ask any questions. Later on, you will have to go directly to them and phone them up. So just now, you got a very good chance of asking questions. So please do ask questions. Do not hesitate. Gain insights and explore the many options available to you. And of course, let's not forget, Jerrett Kane Funeral Home has also provided food, so please feel free to enjoy as we engage in a meaningful discussions. Once again, thank you for all being here. We look forward to an informative and engaging session. And I give it to Calvin.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I would have been a good teacher. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I have hosted many seminars, but none quite like this. To be introduced and to have all of you here today is truly heartwarming, and I greatly and deeply appreciate it. As you have heard, my name is Calvin. I'm the Family Service Manager with Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home and Dignity Memorial. My role and responsibility each and every day is to help families prearrange their services to ensure that that burden doesn't fall to their loved ones during the most difficult time of their life. I am a second-generation funeral director. I've been in our profession for about 16 years. I have worked at a cemetery where I dug graves. I have worked as a funeral director meeting families when no prearrangements were had. And lastly, for about the last 10 years, I've been helping families make their prearrangements. Now, the reason that I shifted my focus from helping families during the most difficult time of their life to a prearrangement capacity is I suffered a death in my family. It was one of the most difficult things that I've ever looked after professionally, and it was at that point in time that I knew that I needed to get this message out, because as we know, death and dying can be a very uncomfortable subject. Today is not going to be about death and dying. It is going to be about planning, it is going to be about celebrating, and it is going to be about honest conversation. So, as you have heard, there is going to be plenty of opportunity for questions. There are no bad questions, there are no silly questions. I make funeral arrangements every day of my life. Most people only do it once or twice. So please, in your folders, there are some specific pages. The first one is your notes page. While I'm going through the presentation, if you'd like to write down a question, we will have an opportunity after the fact to ensure that you're able to do so. One of the other pages in there is a cost breakdown of the services that we explicitly have with the Zoroastrian community. I will be going through that in review in great detail as well. The third page is the presenter evaluation form. That is your opportunity to let me know how I did here today. It also lets my bosses know I didn't play hooky from work today and I actually showed up. If you can please fill that in at the end. Once we have completed the presenter evaluation form, we're going to collect all of them. We're going to put your names into a basket for an opportunity to win a fabulous door prize. And then the last page is the advanced planning worksheet. That is your opportunity. Should you wish to request more information after our presentation, you can do so on that form, which our family service counselor, Connie, will be more than happy to discuss with you. Now, before I get started, does everybody have a folder? I know some people are trickling in right now. Does everybody have a file folder? Or we need one more up at the front here. Mr. Mosey, back left, Mose. Only go. Now, while those folders are being handed out, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mr. John Mosey, who's going to give himself a quick introduction as well.
Thank you, Calvin. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your kind introduction. Again, my name is John Mosey, and I'm the manager at Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home in Thornhill. I've been a funeral director for 30 years, and I've worked in the business for 39 years, so basically a lot of my life. Some of you would be familiar with R.S. Kane Funeral Home, and I did spend a lot of my career at R.S. Kane Funeral Home starting in 1989. When Mr. Kane sold the business in 2019 to the Dignity family of funeral homes, I transitioned with them to the Thornhill Chapel. We're so pleased that you are here. Again, there's no silly questions. Ask any questions at any time today, or even you can reach out to one of us. You each have a business card of Connie's. Again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Calvin.
Awesome. Connie, can you give yourself a quick introduction?
Sure. Good morning. My name is Connie DiPlacido. I'm with the Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home. I've been with them for the past year. So I am the family service counselor. In your folder, you'll see my card. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you put your arrangements in place and give you a peace of mind. So thank you for having us today.
Wonderful. Now, my first slide here is typically a video. And the video shows families that have pre-arranged with us in the past, discussing the reason that they did so and why they chose to pre-arrange with our funeral home. Now, I would like to ask, by a show of hands, how many people here have their own funeral or cemetery pre-arrangements already in place? Wonderful. We have some educated folks. Now, if I could be so bold to pick on you for a moment, could you tell the group what made you want to make your funeral pre-arrangements?
In the beginning, my husband and I were very skeptical when we did it, but my husband passed away on May 1st of this year. And in hindsight, I think that was the best thing that we did, a very practical thing that we did, because when he passed away, all I had to do was make one phone call to Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home, and from there on, everything was taken care of by them. Everything was done in a very nice way. We didn't have any problems. So I thank Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home for their wonderful service that they gave us.
Thank you so much for sharing. A very impactful story indeed. I'm going to pick on somebody else who has their pre-arrangements because I know it was done just a short while ago. Can you tell us why you made your pre-arrangements?
Many years ago, I lost my wife all of a sudden and just didn't know what to do, whether I was standing up or on my head or on my feet. And I have 3 daughters, and I figured I don't want to leave a mess for them, so I went ahead and rearranged it so it would be easy for them. They would know exactly what to do, whom to call, and how it's going to happen.
Wonderful. Well, as we just heard from some of us here, we already have pre-arrangements in place, which is wonderful. Now, this presentation isn't just an opportunity for me to get up here and to speak. It is going to be interactive. Now, at this point in your time, if you could please open your folder and find the piece of paper that says life's most stressful events. Now, we're gonna do a little bit of homework. There is a prize for the individual who gets the most correct. In this page, there is a column, and there are 6 boxes. My ask of you is with your pen is to please rank life's most stressful events, or as you perceive them to be, and rank them 1 as life being most stressful event, 2 is the second most stressful, and so on and so forth as you go through. Now, this was a survey conducted by the University of Washington's Medical School. It was a census done in 2017, and they interviewed 250,000 people with the result. Now, I understand some of these might be personal because you may not be personally impacted by some of these, so please do your best to believe what the general population would say. Now, this is life's most stressful events, and marriage is up there. If you're here with your spouse, please do not put marriage as number 1. I will not be held liable for anything that happens after. And we'll give a couple of minutes to fill in the sheets before I reveal the answers. Connie's gonna come around right now and just make sure that we're doing okay. But again, 1 being most stressful, 6 being the least stressful. If anyone has any questions about filling in this form, please let me know. Looks like most people are almost done, so we'll give another 30 seconds and then I will reveal the answers. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and reveal the answers now. It looks like most people are done. Out of the survey, they had death of a spouse or a partner listed as life's most stressful event. How many people got that one correct? Ooh, quite the studious group we have. Number 2 was divorce. This one throws people off. Did anyone get number 2 as divorce? A couple. Okay, very good. Good answer, good answer. Number 3, death of a loved one. Number 4 was personal injury or illness. Number 5 was marriage. And number 6 was loss of a job. How many people got more than 3 correct? A couple people, good. How about, did anybody get more than 4 correct? Nobody got more than 4 correct? Do we have one hand in the back there? Perfect. Not sure, okay. After you double check your work, if you got more than 4 correct, please see Connie after the presentation. She has a small gift for you. Well, thank you so much for taking your time in filling that in. There's a common trend that I see, but I'm curious if anyone else can spot it out amongst the top 3. Can anyone shout out to me what they see as a common theme? Death? Well, hopefully not in divorce. But what I see in these top 3 is the sudden loss. And it's that loss that oftentimes families are faced with, that all of a sudden they're starting to answer and have a million questions come up and they're not sure what to do. Now, in our profession, we deal with this on a daily basis. Oftentimes, families are phoning us at the funeral home when a death has happened and no plan is in place. And the question that often is asked is, what do we do now? Who do we have to call? Who do we need to notify? What are the decisions that now need to be made? Did you know there's almost 150 questions that a funeral director has to ask a family when a loved one has died and no plans are placed ahead of time? What type of services are they going to be? How long until the services? What are the decisions? What type of clothing? Where is the will? Where is all the important documents? Do we need to contact the police? Do we need to contact the coroner? All of these questions are now funneling through our head during a very emotional and difficult time. However, when pre-arrangements are made, you can actually answer about 90% of these questions ahead of time. Now, of course, there are some details that will always have to be made at the time. For example, dates, places, things of that nature. But by pre-arranging, you can alleviate almost all of the questions that would be answered during that difficult time. Now, when pre-arrangements are not made and services are not discussed ahead of time, there are two questions that will forever remain unanswered. And that's, did I do the right thing? And is that what my loved one really would have wanted? And unfortunately, those two questions will forever remain unanswered when these conversations aren't had ahead of time. But there is an easier way. We plan, for all of life's important events. We plan for weddings, we plan for birthdays, we plan for retirements. Perhaps we even make some plans if we should pass away. For example, we might plan with having life insurance. We plan for these things because we might get to retire one day. We might get to experience a wedding. We might be able to send our kids to college. Doesn't it just make sense then to plan for the one thing we know is inevitable? Unfortunately, we haven't figured out a way to get out of this world alive. Planning with life insurance is a fantastic way to financially secure our financial future should we no longer be able to provide for our family. But there's a common misconception about life insurance, which is it's there to pay for funeral services. Unfortunately, that is no longer the case. And many times when we're getting these insurance plans in place, we have the right attitude to go and get them done. However, the common misconception is it might take months or even years for that life insurance to pay out. And services, when they're not prepaid, have to be due in full by the time of service. Not just that, there could be contentions. Perhaps the beneficiaries weren't designated, or there could be a multitude of reasons why that insurance won't be there to cover the funeral. And that's why pre-planning is so important. Because when you pre-arrange, you actually get to lock in today's prices. Whoops. So when you pre-arrange, as I mentioned, you lock in today's pricing, meaning if a funeral is $15,000 20 years from now, it doesn't matter, you're only still paying today's prices. I always like to say, I wish I could have gone back 20 years ago and prepaid all my gas. Then I wouldn't be paying $1.30 per liter. The other benefit that it provides is knowing that your family won't have to walk into a funeral home during the most difficult time of their life to make all of these decisions. As we've heard, it just becomes one phone call and we know exactly what to do. And then the third thing is those two questions that I said will forever remain unanswered. Well, we now know the answer because we're following, or our family, is going to ensure that they're following our wishes. Now, pre-planning, and you've heard me say it a few times already, you might be thinking, well, how do I do it? What does it look like? What are the steps involved? We've tried to make it as simple as possible. And we've broken it up into 4 categories: reflect, record, secure, and share. The first step is to reflect. And that might be what you're doing right now. Reflecting and thinking about my life and what I would like to have as my funeral services. Perhaps my obituary notice. Maybe what type of clothing I would like to have, or what's important to me. The photographs that can be displayed at my service. Those are all things that you might be doing subconsciously right now, but this really is the first stage to decide what type of disposition would you like to have, and all of those things can be thought-provoking to have with your family. The next step is to record. Now, we offer a book at Dignity Memorial. It's called our Personal Planning Guide. And it's a journal where we're going to be able to record not just our funeral information, but as well as further estate. For example, it's going to be able to give us an opportunity to list for our executors exactly where they need to go at the time of my death. For example, where is the will kept? Do I have a will? Where do I... Oh, I've lost my microphone. They're telling me to sit still. Where do I find all of this important information? Now, when you have that journal filled in, it will act as a roadmap so your children or your executors know exactly where to go to complete the estate settlement. I always like to use my own situation here. I am one of 3 children. My dad, God love him, is a funeral director. He does not talk to me about his finances, rightfully so and no problem. But I made them fill in their own personal planning guide. Lo and behold, I found out that they have an investment account with a bank we had no idea that they use. Banks aren't going to call around to say, would you like to come collect your money? And that's why it's so important that we're able to communicate those details to our executors, our loved ones, and our next of kin. or even something as simple as, what is the password to your cell phone? This comprehensive journal will be kept somewhere safe in your home where you would keep other important documents, and that is where you want to relay your information to your loved ones. Now, to get your own copy of the personal planning guide, please come see Connie after the presentation, and she'd be more than happy to order one for you and go through it with you. It only takes about 45 minutes or so. The third stage is to secure. And what I mean by secure is to actually put together a contract for the type of services that you'd like to have. Now, it's at this point I'd like you to go into your folder and take a look at the Zoroastrian price list that I have provided to you. I'm going to borrow yours for a moment. Somebody has stolen mine, if that's okay. No? Can I borrow this for just a moment? Thank you. Thank you. Now, on the back of the piece of paper, it says breakdown of Zoroastrian pricing. So what we have done at Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home, because of the tremendous relationship that we have, is we are able to offer you a special pricing, including a very generous and healthy discount, which will also be able to encourage and hopefully help you prearrange, because we don't know how long these things might stay intact. But it goes over what a general amount of services that you may wish to have, as well as a complete breakdown of what each item is and the services that would be included. Now, you're not compelled to use this. You are able to go out if you'd like to add in other services, things such as flowers or catering, perhaps an obituary in a newspaper. You are able to go outside of this, but you do have a copy of an exact breakdown, including in there is the discount of $1,675. Now, if we were to copy everything, the total, including tax and all disbursements, is just under $6,000. So a tremendous savings. And again, if you have any questions about this breakdown, please come see Connie or I after the presentation so we can go through it with you. Now, when generating your contract and when making funeral prearrangements, you do not need to prepay for everything in full. You are actually able to do it over a period of time, which is only a benefit offered in pre-planning. And while you pay for it, you can do it over a payment plan of up to 20 years, meaning you can prearrange your funeral oftentimes for as little as $30 or $40 per month, depending on whatever your circumstances. Of course, we have shorter payment plans as well too, but we work with all budgets to make sure that it is suitable and that we aren't worried about any financial debt or things of that nature to pay for funeral services. Now, the wonderful benefit, if you choose to pay for it over a period of time, is God forbid you die while making payments, the remaining balance of that funeral will actually be covered by an insurance program, meaning your families wouldn't be responsible for that added cost at the time, and that insurance program covers any remaining balances owed at the time. As I've mentioned, it gets to lock in today's prices, and then again, at the time of your passing, when prearrangements are not made, families are often wondering, how are we going to pay for this? Do we need to put it on a credit card? Do we need to move money? No longer will your family have to worry about any of those things. Now, the fourth step to prearranging is to share. And this is arguably the most important part, is to be letting know our loved ones exactly what it is that you have done. While you make prearrangements is wonderful, but if we don't tell our friends and family that we've looked after it, at the time of need, they might not know who to call still. So it's really critical that we're telling our children or our executors exactly what it is that we've done, and perhaps some of the decisions that you would still like them to make during that time. Now, letting your family know also is a gift, and we want them to be aware of that gift. I think of a story that comes to mind here. I made prearrangements for a family a number of years ago, and as I have always said, this is a gift to your family. Well, though the husband and wife took that quite literally, in the contract that they had made, they decided to tie a bow on it and give that to their children for Christmas. Well, I got a very interesting call on Christmas. What's happening to my parents? Are they dying? No, everything's okay. But that truly just speaks to them taking this really as a gift for them and to cherish that, to be able to know that no longer do their families need to worry about this. And it's also going to be a decision that shows your family you care and you are involved in this process. The last thing that we want is any of that second guessing to happen during that time. Now, as we've heard, we have such a fantastic relationship at our Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home, but I also just want to share, what should families be looking for in a provider? I am a licensed professional, Mr. John Mosey is, as well as Connie. We all have to go to school, complete accredited programs, complete training every year to maintain our license. But we also offer a ton of different benefits while pre-arranging with Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home and Dignity Memorial. For example, we are a very mobile society. Perhaps you make your pre-arrangements with us here in Kane-Jerrett, but you think, well, what if I move to India, or I move to California, or to the United States, to Florida? Well, the benefit of pre-arranging with us is wherever you go, your funeral follows you. And it is 100% transferable to either any of our Dignity Memorial locations, or as well to overseas is included too. If you have any questions about your specific case, please come see Connie again, and she'd be more than happy to answer any of those questions. Now, we also offer a compassion helpline, 24/7, 365 to a grief counselor, should your family and friends wish to speak to anybody. Now, as we sit here, we think often, no, I'll be okay, my family will be okay, they'll have themselves. Well, sometimes you just need to get up in the middle of the night and talk to somebody. You have that resource built into all of our funeral plans. We also have a 100% service guarantee. God forbid we have to use this plan, but it's an opportunity where we as a funeral home perhaps have let a family down in some capacity. We will offer them a refund for the areas in which we failed to meet their expectations. It's something we very rarely have to do, but it's just added peace of mind knowing that's built into all of our funeral plans. And then one other benefit that I'll talk to is if you have any friends or family that might need to make travel arrangements to come in to meet with services, timelines, deadlines, etc. Well, we work with the world's largest travel agent, Carlson Wagon Lee, to ensure that your family and friends will get here not only on priority wait lists for aircraft, but we can actually coordinate for everybody to arrive at the same time. And then they do get offered a discounted bereavement price. No longer do we have to provide the airlines, that proof of death certificate or anything like that. It's automatically included because it's arranged right through our partnership. Now, Dignity Memorial, we have over 2,800 locations across North America, as I mentioned, that you can transfer to. But we also have a variety of other benefits that I don't have quite time to go through today because I know we'll probably have a lot of questions and answers. So as I said, if you do have any questions, please let us know. Now, I kindly ask if you can open your folder at this point in time and get the presenter evaluation form. And on there, it's not this one, this is a separate form. But the presenter evaluation form, if you can write your first name, your last name, if you want to fill in how I did, you're more than welcome to, and then your contact information at the bottom. And in a few moments, Connie, Mr. Mosey, and myself will come around to collect them to ensure that we're able to enter your name into the draw. And I'll show you here. It is going to be for this, an all-in-one printer. So you could go home with this today. We're going to do the draw in just a few moments. Now, while we're filling the form in, I'd just like to turn it over. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask me? I've got a couple. Please.
What is that if somebody is choosing to criminate, what is the crimination process? Is it fire? And is the body touches the fire or fire touches the body?
That's a good question. It won't, I don't know if, is this one charged again? Oh, perfect. I'm going to bring the microphone if you please ask that question again. Oh yes, my first name is Calvin, like Calvin Klein. My last name is Carter. For the top, thank you.
My name is Sohela.
Please ask your question.
If I just want to know that if I choose crimination, is it by fire or any other things like electricity or something. And is the fire going to touch the body? Because in our religion, we don't have to touch the body with the dead things.
Right.
This is very important.
Yes, good question. Thank you for asking. That's a great question. So yes, we have cremation as our priority disposition. What happens is at the time of cremation, your body would be placed into a cremation casket, and the cremation casket would all go into the retort together so that we don't have to worry about any of that.
So means that casket is not going to burn.
It will in the retort all together at once, yes. Good question. Does that answer?
I'm not still clear that if it is all get dust, it is okay. But after dust, but until my skin is there, no.
Can you repeat their comment?
Yeah, because this is very religion related. You know, I just want to make sure that when the casket, if the casket burns with my body, and my body is not still ash, that is important for me. Thank you.
Died, yeah. Okay. Yeah, is that one? That one's died again. Yeah. So with cremation, what happens is your body will be placed into a cremation casket, everything with you. At the time of cremation, we will place the casket as well as your body into our cremation retort. And then the cremation process will happen. Typically takes about 1 to 2 hours. And then your cremated remains will be brought forward, and that will be what's returned back to your family. The ashes, correct. Cremated remains. I see some more questions. Yes.
Do you have cremation facilities on your site over here?
So our crematorium is our own. We do own and operate it. It's not on site with us in Thornhill, but it's within the GTA because it serves our Dignity Memorial Funeral Homes. But we do own and operate our own crematorium. It is in Lakeshore and the 427 in Etobicoke area. I got some more questions over here.
So I heard that family or people are not allowed to go to the crematorium with the body. And that is something, God forbid if something happens to my family, I want to be there at the crematorium. So how do you arrange that, and how many people are allowed to go there? Would you please give us some details?
Great question. So what you would be referring to is a witnessing of cremation. If that is the intended family's wishes, what we will do in place is use a third-party crematorium that is not ours, that is closer located. We would use Elgin Mills Crematorium, and they're still very much able to have family present. Mr. Mosey, do you know what the number is for witnessing at Elgin? Or Highland Hills? Yeah, there's no number. No number, so a maximum, yeah.
So the question is, that if we are going to another crematorium which is not yours, who is overseeing that? Who is responsible? I mean, what happens? Like once the body leaves your chapel, then are we let loose?
Good question. No, you still remain under our care, and it is our team that will facilitate the transfers to ensure all of that is looked after. In addition to all of our paperwork is completed in a very vigorous and detailed manner, so we know exactly what's happening and whom it is. Correct, exactly. Correct, you will still deal with us and our staff at that time. Yes, we have another question down here.
Maybe Connie, can you turn yours on?
Thank you. This is a question on the pricing. You mentioned sheltering of remains, and at the same time, it stays in the funeral home. So what is the difference?
Sure. So what I will do is I'll actually give a little bit of a breakdown of what happens based on the price list that's been provided. So at the time of passing, Wherever that place might be, whether it be at a home, a care facility, or perhaps at a hospital, a physicianer must sign a document which has indicated that you have in fact passed away. As soon as that document has been signed, it's at that point in time that we're able to pick you up and bring you into our care at the funeral home. We operate 24/7, 365. So no matter if it's on a holiday in the evening, our team will still always be able to bring you into our care. Granted, that document has been signed by a nurse practitioner, doctor, or somebody suitable to do so. Once we have you in our care at the funeral home, we would meet with your next of kin or executors to finalize the pre-arrangements that you have made to make sure there are no other changes or anything else or last-minute requests. You will stay in our care. Typically, it takes about 3 days for us to arrange the cremation service. However, we are also going to go to work to ensure that we're obtaining all of the legal paperwork, we're doing all the coordination on the back end, and we're looking after all of the services. Looks like you, yeah. Yeah, here, go ahead, Mr. Mosey. You got Mike.
Vehicle.
So why don't I go through you want me to itemize the service charge? Sheltering of remains, that is where the deceased is at the funeral home when they're in our care. So that's a special place in the funeral home. Transfer of remains is from place of death to the funeral home. The funeral vehicle takes your body to the crematorium after the services. And we know that it's important for funerals to happen within 3 days. We know that, and we do our very best to accommodate the family. Typically, the family comes in, I know it's noted on the back there, the family comes into the funeral home prior to the service to finalize the arrangements that Calvin's talking about. So as an example, if the service is at 3 o'clock, just as an example, the family would come in at about 2 o'clock to sign some papers, the ceremonial bathing, dressing happens, and then the service happens. So that happens fairly a tight time, signing of papers, the dressing, the bathing, and the service. Did that answer your question, sir?
Like sometimes we need to dispose of the body as quickly as possible. And we sometimes want to do it like if the person dies, we want to do it the same day and as soon as possible. Do we have to wait for the 3 days?
Not at all. So it's all about timing. Just the family would talk to the community, to the priest, to see about the timing, and then we typically, it's based on our availability as well, but we do our very best to accommodate our families. I would say it's unusual for it to happen in the same day, but probably the next day. That's a little more reasonable.
These payments that we make, whether it's a one-time payment or over time, is that goes into your cash flow? Is it held by an insurance company, so that's protected?
Good question. So when you prepay for your funeral, as I mentioned, you lock in today's prices. By law, no funeral home in the province of Ontario is allowed to hold on to their own pre-arrangement money, meaning it's held in a third-party insurance company, and that money is directly under your care still. So wish you choose to, as I mentioned, assign it to another provider, whether that be within the GTA or further, you can do so. Additionally, while you are paying for it, if you wanted to cancel, receive a partial refund, make changes, the money is still yours and in your control. They're the company that merely provides it. At the time of services, they will pay the funeral home to cover for the expenses, and if there's any excess proceeds, those monies are returned back to a beneficiary or estate.
One funeral home across from Center Point, Jerrett and Kane. Can the body be taken there, or you got to go to a new place that you already have it now? Because when you go there, sometimes wheel trans is not allowed because of the highway from stills and on. So we just want to know that the person can have the facility here and there or not.
Yep, I've had that conversation with the community, and I know that transit is an issue. So if that is something, if you would like to use the North York Chapel, we will honor that. But I think the decision was made amongst the community to remain in Thornhill ideally because of the staff, the facilities, and I see you nodding your head there too. The relationship with the RS Kane staff a little more, perhaps. Who would be next then?
In 2001, we had used R.S. Kane Funeral Home because a very close family member suddenly passed away. And then I remember that then the body was taken to your Forest Hill crematorium, which is at 401 and Shepherd. You know, so I would like to know, like we would like to be there when our loved one is being cremated, actually. So, yeah, please, can you explain that? What will happen? Is that crematorium is still available to R.S. Kane?
So I'm well aware of that relationship that we had with Forest Lawn Crematorium. Many of the Zoroastrian families would go there to follow to see the cremation. They do not allow us to use their crematorium anymore. Their company does not allow us to do that. I'm not sure why. But they do not allow us to do that. Well, we can use Highland Hills, which is just north of us, or any crematorium that's convenient to the family. But Forest Lawn Crematorium does not allow us to do witness cremations. That's their policy, nothing to do with us. Highland Hills is at Woodbine Avenue, north of Stouffville Road. So from our place, it's not too far, just up the highway. It's about 20 minutes. It's really not too far. So we have a good relationship with them. But I would say that recently, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the Zoroastrian community typically does not go to the crematorium. We're seeing a trend in that, where the family does not go, and we're willing to do it, but we're just seeing that a lot of the time they don't wish to go currently for the cremation, to witness the cremation.
I just have a question regarding the crematorium itself. Like in India, in Mumbai, for example, they use what are called electric crematoriums. And from what I understand, it's that there's no fire or wood kind of burning fire in there, but it's the heat of you put in a box or whatever, a steel box, and the heat generated by electricity around the box would, dispose of or burn up the body. Is that what is done here, or how exactly do they cremate the body over here?
So interesting, I haven't heard of that before. So 95% of the crematoriums in Ontario are through gas, natural gas. There is equimation, it's a new process where it's using water and chemicals. There's a place in Newcastle, just east of us. I don't know a lot about that. I know it's more expensive than gas cremation, but gas cremation is what we currently use. You have to push the button.
All right. First of all, thank you for arranging this event. My question is around the cost that comes around with the funeral expenses. It's quite a price for anybody in that way, and I think it comes along part and parcel of it. My question to you is, you've mentioned over here, this is the amount for our Zoroastrian community. What is the regular amount would it be if it was not for the Zoroastrian community? Plus, I'd like to know if somebody of our Zoroastrian community who's visiting from out of the country, because life and death waits for no one. And unfortunately, if somebody passes away and we suggest them to go have the funeral done at the Kane-Jerrett funeral home, would this amount be offered to them as well for the people who are out of towners and God forbid had happened to them at that time? Thank you.
100%. We would serve the community, whether they're local people or from out of the country. Not an issue there. And then your question about what a non-Zoroastrian family would pay, they would pay an additional $1,675 for that same type of service. But there are other packages as well. Every family is so different. So some families, non-Zoroastrian families will have a visitation the day before or lots of different services that we offer.
Just a connected question, what about the spouse, the non-Zoroastrian spouse of the Zoroastrian couple, like in a way? One of them is
We'll
a
honor
non-
that. We'll honor that. We're not asking for any type of proof. We just, if the family says that they're Zoroastrian or that they're spouses, we're going to provide the same package to that family.
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you.
Hi. Why is there no crematorium at your Thornhill facility, and are you planning to have one there? Because the thought of the body being moved from Thornhill to Lakeshore is like somehow unsettling, and other funeral homes have crematoriums on their site, which is very comforting to the survivors.
I can answer that. So when you say funeral homes have crematoriums on site, those are funeral homes that are on cemetery property. So that's why it's different than us. We're not on cemetery property, so it's very difficult for us to have a crematorium on a funeral home property site. So that's why ours is off-site, and that's why it's down in the city. Just with zonings, it took 10 years for us to get that crematorium. So it wasn't easy for us. We are very proud that we have our own crematorium because we are identifying the deceased right through the process and with our own company.
But it's extremely far from where you are currently located in Thornhill.
It is far, but again, as Calvin said, families are not going to our crematorium. We don't offer that with our crematorium. If the family wants to go to the crematorium to see the cremation begin, we'll make other arrangements at a closer location if that's what the family wishes. And it would be more expensive too, for the family to witness at the crematorium.
The one you have is located at Lakeshore and what?
Lakeshore and 427. But again, the family is not attending. We are transporting the decedent there. We are bringing the ashes back. The decedent is in our care from start to finish. So we're very proud to say that. I wouldn't think of that as a deterrent, the distance or that it's far away at all. That's my opinion.
Basically, then you are discouraging the family from attending the cremation.
With our crematorium, we're just not set up for that. We're not set up for it. It's a clean facility, modern. We're very proud of it, but we're just not set up for families to be there. But we can make those arrangements if it's important to the family.
At another crematorium.
Sorry, hi. First question. Sorry. Right. First question is, I think what I want a clarification is, there is a difference in the casket that you display at the funeral to the casket you put in the crematorium. There is a difference. It's not the same one that you burn up.
I can explain that.
Okay, please go ahead.
Years ago with the Zoroastrian community, the family would purchase a casket. Back at RS Kane, it was a gray cloth-covered casket. That casket was cremated. Recently, what we are doing, and the community has embraced this, they rent a casket. So the outer shell that you see is made of solid oak, and then on the inside of that casket is the insert. And the insert is what is cremated with the deceased.
All right.
So it's very environmentally friendly.
Okay.
It's very simple.
I think normally in the Zoroastrian tradition, you shroud the body in a white cloth.
Yes, that's part of the bathing, the dressing
All right,
ceremony.
okay. Another question is, I think in the Zoroastrian community, I don't think any Zoroastrian goes with the body to the Dungarwadi, where the, Tower of Silence. It doesn't. The Parsis, the Zoroastrians, I mean, I have done this job for my relatives, etc. once, taking the body to the Tower of Silence. No Parsi goes there. And they have what they call the Nasisan who does it, It's a very religious. So, wait, let me finish. So, in my little bit knowledge of the Zoroastrian community or tradition, we do not accompany the body. So I think, there is a merit in what you say, that you take the body to the crematorium on your own. We should not accompany it. Only the Hindus do it. And second thing is, the ashes. I believe I've been told by a very top Parsi priest here that the ashes should not be handled by us. Sorry, that's my wife. So she wants to know if I'm still here or gone, right? So the question is that ashes should not be handled by us, and that is true, And after, even if you go to if you take the body to the Tower of Silence, you have to go through a bathing process, etc. And I had to go through it, So what I'm trying to say here is, please, patience. So what I'm trying to say here is the concept that we should accompany the body to the crematorium is not correct. Second point is, how do you dispose of the ashes? We are not supposed to touch it. Do you take the body, ashes, bury it, or you put it in the water, sea burial? Do you handle ashes after that?
So we're not allowed to dispose of the ashes. So the ashes need to be returned to the family or someone that they designate. So we are not to dispose of them. The family can purchase a grave, or they're scattering, maybe at Glen Oaks, I believe, Glendale. I believe that's what happens, or a body of water. Yeah. Right, but we can't dispose of them. Thank you.
Good morning. In a lighter way, in my family and I, we have been shopping around for something like this based on an advertisement which appeared in the Liberal. This was 3 years back. And during the course of shopping around, we have also visited Kane-Jerrett. And I am happy that you are here to advise, guide us on the procedures. During shopping around, we also came around that in case of death abroad, this includes transporting the body from wherever to Toronto. Is that correct?
Calvin, maybe you can touch on that.
Does it include that cost?
I can answer that question.
Yeah.
So what you're referring to is, if you were to die abroad, overseas, wherever you are in the world, your body repatriated back here to Toronto for services to be fulfilled, that is a separate insurance that we can add to your funeral plan, but is not included directly into the breakdown that you have in front of you. It's about an $800 additional fee should you wish to include that.
Okay, as a corollary to that, and the various, I would say, suggestions for a better word, because I am not a priest, I am not very familiar with all the practices, and I would not like to create any controversy here, but it appears that the community is seized of this, of the body being bathed by a Zoroastrian and not touched by a non-Zoroastrian, and how to handle the ashes and things like that. What if the reverse was requested by a family? I die here, but my wife would like that my body be taken to Dungarwadi in Bombay. Would the $800 cover that?
So
Then what happens is, the traditional ones amongst us who want all those formalities to be gone through, they can just add on that premium and have the body transferred back to Dungarwadi in Mumbai, which is the only place today, the only so-called functioning place, because I am from Mumbai and I can say it's not really functioning the way it should be, because the sunlight rays and all that are now almost absent with the towers over there. But it's the best functioning place today in the world. So if one desires that, can that be organized for this premium of $800?
So the arrangement is about repatriation from where you pass away,
not
to go back the other way around.
around.
Correct, yes, correct. Good question to ask, though.
No, that would have solved all problems.
Yeah. And we have
any case, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other issues, I will definitely get in touch with you.
Please, yes. Thank you.
My question is, you guys come under one banner, Kane-Jerrett. So somebody brought up the issue that your current location is not within the GTA, etc. So could people use the Jarrett one, which is across from where your old location was? And Jarrett also has other locations in Toronto. So are people who join your plan, are they flexible to use those locations with the pricing? Okay.
Yeah, so we do have 14 locations within the GTA. But what I'll say to that is really first choice Kane-Jerrett Thornhill, second choice Kane-Jerrett North York, and that would really be all as far as honoring those prices. So those prices, they came, the relationship with R.S. Kane, when Mr. Kane sold the business, we wanted to continue those relationships, and discussions were had with the community. So that's why that price is still there, and we want to continue to do that. So the two Kane-Jerrett funeral homes, they both have the same pricing, so I will say we will honor at that location as well.
Because there are older people, people who need help, who use wheel-trans, and if you use wheel-trans, then you have to switch over to the next pickup or whatever. So people are inclined to be not attending funerals at your new location. So it's only 2 years ago that I was sort of aware. I mean, I was aware of the new one. I mean, the Jarrett, which was across from your old location, but a former manager of mine, the daughter had died, and I attended that, and it's 2 years now. So that's when it struck me that I should be asking you guys this question, whether it's interchangeable.
I just have one comment regarding Mr. Roynton Kias. From my own personal experience, when my husband passed away in May a month ago, the Kane-Jerrett Funeral Home did the cremation at Highland Hills, which was a very beautiful place, first of all, and secondly, the whole family was allowed to attend the cremation. And we were allowed even to go inside the room where the cremation took place. And I would say that everything went very well. The service was arranged, I think, after a day or so. Saturday was a funeral, and then Monday morning was the cremation service. So I don't think that it is right to say that the family is not allowed, because there at Highland Hills, the whole family was allowed. We were about 10 of us, and everybody was allowed. And I have one question about the bereavement fare. Is the bereavement fare applicable to immediate family or extended family? Because my nephew came from California, and the airlines declined the bereavement fare.
I'm going to have Calvin answer that a little.
Sure.
Well, let me comment on the first part, though. Sorry.
Go ahead, yeah.
So thank you for your kind words. We appreciate that. And we would never say to a family that they cannot attend at the crematorium. So I'm glad that that was something that you wanted and we were able to accommodate. And that may not be that same day. Again, Highland Hills, they have a schedule. It might be the next day. Again, yes. So we work with them. We work with the family. So thank you, Calvin.
Of course. So regarding the bereavement travel, if the travel arrangements aren't made specifically with Carlson Wagon Lee, as I mentioned, it has to be done with them. Because as I said, a lot of the airlines nowadays don't offer that if made independently from them. So that's why we provide all of the information. And when you pre-arrange, you get access to them now, and they can actually be used for all family and friends, not just immediate family.
I'll just add to, yeah, we fought. Just add to that. So in this case, because it was not honored, can it be done after the fact, now that we know, or that doesn't exist?
That's why they want to use our travel agent to organize.
Fair enough. Thank you. No.
Yes, I have a question. In case a person who's a Canadian resident in Toronto passes away, say in Mumbai, following, and they want to dispose of the body. The family wants to do it in Mumbai at the Tower of Silence. From the experience I had about 20 years ago with my mother, basically, you keep a wad of cash with you or the family, and they actually take it, because as soon as the body's taken away into the tower, you have to settle accounts. So people actually have to pay up on the spot. At least that was what it was about 20 years ago. Now, let's say if I was to, say, pass away there, somebody looks after my funeral arrangements, incurs those expenses, can they be reimbursed by you? Will you reimburse them for those expenses?
So when the pre-arrangement is made, what we can do is the funds that you had prepaid can be reallocated back to a beneficiary to repatriate their costs that they had incurred in Mumbai if that was the disposition. So the funds that you prepay are never lost.
Okay, I just wanted that clarification. Thank you.
Just a simple question. Will you give your priority to the Zoroastrian community? If somebody dies away, the body should, as much as possible, try to dispose of, or all the prayers should be done within 48 hours maximum, not later than that, because we do believe in that. Prefer the same day is much better. The prayers and all are done. I think that would be much better, but I give plus and minus because sometimes people are busy, not more than 2 days. Would you go with that?
We'll do our very best. That's all I can say. Sometimes there's families that ask us to wait a day or two as well. Normally.
Everybody has to stay is different, but normal procedure, suppose today I die and my family wants to have my prayers done, can you do the prayers not today, but for next day for sure? That's what I want to know. Within 48 hours, the ceremony should be completed.
We'll always do our best to honor the family's wishes, 100%. I promise you that.
Just before we move to the next questions, Connie's going to come around now, make her way to your tables. That presenter evaluation form, just because I do want to do that prize before people start leaving. So Connie's going to come around to collect those presenter evaluation forms. Again, just make sure you have your name and phone number written on there so we can do the draw very, very soon.
Also, Calvin, sorry, before we continue, how much more time we have left for question answers? Okay, we need to give a time frame, but all right, there's one question here. I will come to you after, and if then there are no more questions, I'm going last.
Okay. We'll give another 10 minutes for questions because lunch is here and ready.
Hi. This is, like I said, I always have a lot of doubts about what would I do if I am faced with a situation. What are the steps that I would need to take immediately? Okay? I don't have a lot of family around, it's just my sister and myself. So I'm sorry, please forgive me, but I keep thinking, what happens if my sister dies? So, sorry. No. So what I want to know is, if something happens at home, just can you give me, what are the steps that one needs to follow immediately? Like, who would sign the death certificate? Like, I'm so
No, I can answer that.
I had one of my questions was the same thing. So if a death happens at home, and partial of that question is on us as a board to have this information available readily for our members and the community at large. Some of the questions are for our priests, that what do we have to do? But essentially, as soon as this happens at home, what is the first thing I have to do, and how do I go about it?
That's a good question. So I would say, thank you. So I would say every situation is so different. Someone can pass away at home very suddenly, unexpectedly. If that's the case, I would think you would call 911. But if someone has been sick for a while, they may even have a document in place called expected death at home, where it's very clear what the family does when the person passes away. Or maybe there's a family doctor. for us, we cannot come to the home until the person has been pronounced or there has been a death certificate provided. So it's changed a little bit over the years. In the past, there had to be a death certificate at the residence. But now that's not the case. We just, as a funeral home, we need to confirm that the deceased has been pronounced deceased. And then the doctor or the coroner at times does send us the death certificate digitally. So that's a bit of a change.
So, Firuzi, I think part of your question is something that we are working with our priests to make sure we have this checklist. We've recently just created an arbitrary page on our ZSO website. These are questions more and more coming our way we see in our emails. So that's something we're going to work with Ervad Hoshang, Ervad Mebad, everybody, and have this readily available, share it through the newsletter, share it, and have it accessible so you can see. Yes, a step-by-step, 100%, yes.
And just one other thing, somebody had come and asked me a question, so I just wanted to answer for the group because it might be for a few. Somebody asked, are these prices guaranteed in the price list that we've provided you today? When you prepay, it's locked in today forever. So if our prices go up, it doesn't matter. However, if you do not prepay, our prices will continue to increase. It's not very often, but when those increases happen, if it's not prepaid, then it would be required to be paid the cost at the time of services being needed. Just wanted to clarify.
Maybe I'll just add a little bit to that last question, if I could. So once the death certificate...
Silence, please.
Once either the ambulance has been, or the doctor's been, or the coroner's been, like once all that's been confirmed, even while that is happening, you can call the funeral home to let us know that your loved one has passed away, just to let us know. And then, again, once the death has been...
I'm coming to all the people who have their hands up. I'm coming in order.
Once the death has been pronounced, and then our staff will coordinate our staffing in our vehicle, and we will come to the home. Sometimes that takes 2-3 hours. Some families ask us to come later if they're waiting for more family to gather. So I just wanted to add a little bit more to that. Thank you.
And to build on that same question, a question out of a question was, to end the topic, in the case where you said a death certificate is needed and you will only come to the home once the person is pronounced dead, what if we go through 911? So deceased at home, 911, and do those people sign off on that and give us?
They will arrange a coroner, that's my understanding. They will arrange a coroner, and the coroner may attend, or the coroner may just communicate with the paramedics. And then we will find out that what's been done has been done.
Thank you.
My question is, can you elaborate more on this estate fraud protection, please? Thank you.
Sure. I can look after the estate fraud. So that is a service that we have included in your plan. But what we do is, at the time of your death, your social insurance number stays active until the Canada Revenue Agency has finalized the last tax return, which is usually 12 months from the time of death. Meaning that estate fraud protection red flags your social insurance number with Equifax and TransUnion Canada, who are the credit bureau agencies, to ensure that nobody can use your social insurance number for fraudulent things like opening up banks, credit cards, etc. So it's protected against estate fraud. Good question.
Many of you are asking on the form, what is the seminar ID? I don't think that is required. So please ignore it. Just give your name and, how Kevin said, that's all we need.
I just want to check with you guys, this agreement that you have for us, it's a discounted rate, et cetera, et cetera. How long are you going to hold that rate for us? Is there like a time frame, like a tenure, or like if I don't opt into it right away, then it's lost, or is it like a few-year thing? Because earlier on when I was sort of had experience with Kane, the person who, Mr. Schroff, was your sort of point of contact. And I thought there was a tenure which you guys gave us or something. I mean,
Not at all.
No?
We want to continue that relationship, and we want to keep this relationship. I don't see that changing at all.
No, so say the rate what you gave us now.
Yep.
Like
if you prepay.
If I don't opt, so unless you prepay, and what is the timeline to prepay? Like, do I have to do it within 5 months, 1 year? And how long will you honor that price?
So our prices typically go up about once per year. We just had the pricing adjustment not too long ago, so you do have a bit of time. We don't want today to be like a pressure for you to come prepay, but in my experience, the sooner the better usually. Yeah, but if you don't notify us or say, I have intentions to prearrange, can you let me know, or can we create a relationship? But today was about information, not pressuring people to come prepay. It's just something we strongly encourage and recommend to lock in that pricing.
And to add to that, then,
It's a locking in period. Like, how long is it? If I come to you after a year,
Yeah.
still honor this rate.
So if you come prepay now, your funerals, that price is locked in forever, no matter what. But the price list that's in front of you, that changes about every 1 year. Yeah.
so just to add to that, we do meet with the Kane-Jerrett team annually to revision and update these information. So if the prices change, you will be notified, it will be communicated. Now, at some point, it will be on our website. And the lock of the price, if I may just elaborate, you see this price today, it's locked in from today. Up until this price is there, it's there. If your incident happens 1 year or 2 years from now, then it's the price at that moment. It's not the price from today. Did that clarify? Okay. Atvi, uncle?
No,
Thank you. Just have one more question, and I know this might not be exactly related to the funeral home, but this is for organ donation. In our community, I don't know what it is, but I've signed up myself for organ donation. So if something ever happens to me, whoever needs anything from me, please go ahead and take it. How does the funeral home take care of that in a way for the person who is signed up for the Trillium Gift of Life organ donation?
Yeah, we're not so involved in that. That happens before we get involved. So you would pass away perhaps at a hospital, or do you know, Calvin? Like, can you elaborate on that?
With the donation, what happens is at the time of passing, the provisions the doctor are going to make for the donation to happen, typically they have to happen within a very quick period of time. So if you were to pass away at a hospital, the donation will happen within a short period of time, typically a few hours. And then once the donation has been made, that's when we can then get involved. Very rarely does it delay any type of services at all. So, yeah.
And
sorry, we got one more question here.
there was a question here. So if I'm
go
going
ahead,
in
yeah,
respect of order, then the question is here.
No, it wasn't a question, it was just relevant to the pricing. I just wanted to say in a lighter vein, these days pricing can depend on the applicable of tariffs. So if the gentleman down south decides to apply tariffs on funerals also, maybe the prices could change. This is just in a lighter vein, nothing to do with the pricing.
I know I'm holding an orange mic, but we're not going to talk about an orange person over here. I'm holding an orange mic, and I'm wearing orange, but we're not talking about an orange man. And I think that's the last question
Correct,
from
yeah.
the audience. I do have, from a board perspective, some comments and questions, so I'll put them out.
Just wait, I have a question. There was this question from Mebad about organ donation. What happens when people opt for body donation? I don't think many people know about what is a body donation.
I don't think these are relevant questions. Sorry, speaking on your behalf, but I don't think these are relevant questions for the funeral home. That's a whole other ball game.
Body donation. So what I know about body donation is there's a company in the city. There's a company in the city that they will go and see the deceased to see if they are approved for body donation. So that's their role. They do that. They work with the University of Toronto, and if the person is accepted, the deceased goes there, and then we don't see that deceased ever. They take care of that. The whole body. The whole body.
Okay, so that that brings us to the end of, sorry, go ahead. if
No,
you-
that's okay. I'm going to do the draw in the next 5 seconds. I just want last call. Has everybody turned in their presenter evaluation before I pull name? Okay, we've got 2 coming in, and then we're doing the draw, and then we'll turn it over to you for final comment, okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Just over here, Connie, and then we're going to do the draw. Oh, right here, Connie, right behind you as well, too. I can grab your form here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the draw now. So the winner is, grab one out of not looking here. John, 647-836-8244. There we go. There's our winner of our HP printer. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, we're going to turn it over to the board for final comments. Connie, John, and myself will be here for a few moments after. So if you'd like to come up and see us independently, please feel free. Thank you again.
Before Erwin Hoshang does the final closing remarks, I had a couple of questions, comments from the board perspective. The information that has been shared today, is this readily and easily available on your website that we could plug into it? And can we publish the preferred pricing that we have as a community on our website and update it as and when we renegotiate?
Definitely post on your website. It's not posted on our website. We don't want everyone to know that we have this amazing relationship with the Zoroastrian community.
So my next thing will be if you could kindly share a soft copy of that, and I'll connect after this with share of information, and then we will work together to have that. I know a lot of questions went around, what if the body has to be transported there, body has to transport it from India to over here. There's a whole other country in all of this involved too. We have Zoroastrians in Iran too, and we don't cremate, we bury. So, and with all the rightful orange sanctions, and ironically, I'm wearing orange and holding an orange mic. So with all the orange sanctions, or the American sanctions on us, and the relationships with Iran that are there, if there is an Iranian who says, I want my body to be sent, or my ashes to be sent to Iran, can we work with that too? Or does it matter which part of the world it is? I know there was a heavy focus on India, but we have people in Pakistan, we have people in Iran, and we have people in South Africa or Kenya and those places too.
We've sent remains all over the world. So whether it's the full body or cremated remains, we can assist with any of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, before I close down, I want to answer one question, that what happens, what are the steps to be done if somebody dies? So we have tried to say that in our booklet, the funeral guidance booklet, which is a blue color booklet, which was published in 2017. And it is over there, what are the steps you will do. But it is also on the website. It is also on the website, and we had distributed it also, the hard copy of it also. So if at all, it is not saying exactly, it says it, but not to everybody. There may be different situations, as Mr. John said. So, but it will still give you a fair idea what are the steps you have to do. So you can refer to that booklet. It is also on our website. It is known as Funeral Guidance Booklet. Is it available? It is available on our website. Naiji, hard copy we don't have.
You can always download it and print it at home.
Print it at home, correct. So, to wind up, I would really sincerely thank Mr. John, Mr. Kelvin, and also Connie for the informative seminar and answering all our questions. Thank you so much, and also for coming and taking out the time.